G'day guys, welcome back to the Bray and Ethan podcast, episode 79. Of course, it is all thanks to Skinbro. Use Bray and Ethan 20 for 20% off all skincare products at skinbro.com. And it was breaking news last week, Ethan. All orders $35 or over now get free shipping. It's not so breaking news, but it's still very, very handy.
Yeah, may as well get around it. And straight into our guest, Subiaco have actually been flying of late in the WAFL. I don't want to sound biased as a Subi supporter, but I think that everyone would agree that's been the case. And one of the reasons for that is due to this man. He's returned to the club after a couple of years at Port Adelaide. He's also been named in the state squad to verse the Sandful in a couple of weeks, so somewhat versing his old state, I guess you could say. So no better time to get him in the studio. Taj Schofield, welcome to the potty.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Pleasure to have you on. It's been, obviously, as Ethan said, a great start to season 2023. How have you found everything now that you're back in WA?
Yeah, it's good to get back and settle in. It was a bit of a whirlwind of a couple months, I guess. Trying to make a decision where I was going to play, whether that was in the Sandful or back in the WAFL. But yeah, I feel like I've made the right decision, and yeah, it's been good to be back home around the family and friends and that. So it's been good. And
just doing a bit of research on, you've had quite a fair journey as it is for a 20-year-old. We'll chat about your time at Port, but just talk us through a bit of your junior career, especially winning a Colts flag in 2018 as a 16-year-old. Bit of a theme last week with Riley Hardman also winning a Colts flag when he was 16, but that was on a day where Subiaco won all three grades.
Yeah, so it has been a bit of a journey, but I guess it all sort of started, in that year, 2018. My old man was coaching the league team, and then I was lucky enough to be good enough, to play Colts that whole year. Played state 16s that year, and then our Colts team had been pretty average up until that year, and then I guess we sort of got a good team together and went all the way and won the flag, which was good. And the reserves and the league won the flag that year as well, which was handy. Yeah.
What were the celebrations like? Can you remember?
I can remember because I was only 16. So I couldn't do it, but I'm sure they were pretty big.
So after that, you moved across to South Australia. What was it like going through the whole father-son process, and how long did you know that you were potentially going to be taken as a father-son pick? Yeah,
well, I guess it was sort of it was sort of part of the reason that we moved there a little bit. Dad obviously got a job at Port Adelaide, but then we sort of knew in a couple of years was going to sort of help me be set up for 2 years' time. And then, it probably wasn't really until I'd obviously done a little bit of training and stuff with Port, but probably wasn't until my actual draft year where it was sort of a bit more clear that that was going to be the case. And obviously it wasn't locked in or anything like that, but it was more of a chance. I obviously had to still play good footy and whatnot, but I had a bit of an idea that was going to be the case.
Pretty big decision though, because you moved over there for school and everything, so it must have been a big transition, not just footy, mates and social life as well.
Yeah, initially I didn't really want to move, because I was sort of at that age, end of year 10. I was sort of trying to find who my mates are and that sort of stuff, and then had to go to a new school and sort of re-establish who my mates are and try and fit in, I guess. Lucky enough, the school I went to was Henley High, so they had a footy program, and I was involved in that, and it made it super easy to sort of make friends and that. So
it wasn't too daunting or anything.
Nah, it wasn't. The first week was, and not the first day, but after that, I kind of knew a couple boys there, like Jackson Mead, who's at Port now.
Yeah.
Sort of knew him from before, when our dads were playing at Port and whatnot, so made it a little bit easier.
And speaking of your dad, don't want to make it too much about him, but most would know that he obviously won a premiership at Port, played for both WA clubs, and has been a successful WAFL coach post-playing. Have people always compared or asked if you would follow his path, and how have you coped with that? Have you embraced it? I imagine sometimes it could be quite annoying.
Yeah, I guess I've sort of just tried to embrace it. Even still now, when there's little articles and stuff, I'm always referred to as son of Jared Schofield, and it is a little bit annoying, but I guess it's always sort of just going to be there, considering I am his son and that. But yeah, I sort of never really found that there was a heap of pressure on me, and that sort of came internally. Dad was always don't sort of listen to it, you're your own player and that sort of stuff, which made it a lot easier. but there's obviously that external sort of noise about it, but I just sort of try to not listen to it. But yeah, at times it can be a little bit annoying, but it's not too bad.
And what is his involvement now with your footy nowadays? Like, obviously he's working at West Coast as an assistant. So what does he have, I guess, what does he do with your footy? Has he taken a step back since now that you're playing senior footy and you've gone through the junior ranks?
Yeah, early days when I was like young, he used to be like pretty hectic. There'd be a few tears here and there, but now he's like completely sort of taken a step back, and it's more like up to me. And then if I go to him for advice and that sort of stuff, he'll obviously help out, but he's not sort of in my face like pushing me to do things. It's more on my shoulders and me driving my own career now. So it is a lot better, but he's obviously very good for advice and someone to lean on. So it's good.
And looking back at your time at Port Adelaide, what do you cherish most about that? I can imagine it would have been pretty surreal to train with guys such as Ollie Wines, Travis Boak, Connor Rosie, the list goes on. What do you look back on fondly from your 2 years there?
Oh, probably just the whole sort of 2 years, I guess. It was probably a bit shorter than I sort of expected, but I guess I'll be forever grateful for that 2 years. And I guess the opportunity to sort of be involved at a club where Dad was at as well, it's like it's good for our family and stuff. So, I guess, as I said, it was probably cut a bit shorter, but yeah, the whole sort of 2 years, the whole journey of it, like just getting drafted there, that whole experience, I guess I'll remember that forever.
And that first year in particular, you guys, Paul played in a prelim, Ollie Wines won the Brownlow. That must have been a crazy introduction, especially that first year.
Yeah.
I guess the Port fans as well.
Yeah, definitely. It was, I guess I sort of came in at a good time. The year before I got drafted, they made the prelim. Then the year I got drafted, my first year, they obviously made the prelim and Ollie won the Brownlow. So it was all very positive, and I guess the club was in a really good place, and they still are in a good place now. But yeah, I guess probably no better time than to come into a club than at that time when things are going well. So it was a great time, and I remember it forever.
If you don't mind having a little chat about it, but how hard was it to find out that your time was up at the end of last year, and did you see it coming?
Yeah, it was. Obviously, it's for anyone, it's probably not a great time to find out that your dreams coming to an end. But I guess, it probably was a little bit unexpected. I'd obviously had chats with my manager, and he had spoken to the club and whatnot. And it was sort of a bit up in the air, and it was going to sort of come down to the end of the season. But deep down, personally, I sort of thought that, I've been emergency five times that year, and I'd been playing pretty solid footy in the SANFL. So I was like, hopefully I'm all right here. But it wasn't to be. But yeah, it was for probably a month or two after that. It was, I was pretty flat, and I guess, I had to sort of try and move on pretty quickly because I'm only 20 and I've got a long career ahead. So I sort of had to put that sort of spin on it and look forward to what's next.
Yeah, well, looking at doing a bit of research again, a lot of the Port fans weren't happy, and I was speaking to someone at the Footy Commission saying that you were coming in, and they were saying how, I don't know, you can say if this is true or not. Apparently there was one game, Port versus Geelong, and you were an emergency, and you just fly there and back or drive 2 times from Geelong to Port or something like that. Is that true? Just to be an emergency and then play in the SANFL?
Yeah, so there was one round where we were playing in Geelong, and I was one of the travelling emergencies, and we flew to Melbourne, drove to Geelong. Then the boys we stayed a night. The boys played the next day. Then that straight after the game, drove back to Melbourne, got on a plane, flew to Adelaide. Then I think we landed at about 9:30ish. And then went to bed, got up, and the next day was the Russell Ebert tribute game. So we were playing out in Loxton, which is 3 hours out of Adelaide. So then, it was a bit of an earlier game. So it was the game was at 12:30 or something. So we had to be there at 11, and it was 3 hours away. So got up at 7, had some breakfast, and had to drive 3 hours to the game. But turns out it was probably my best game for the year. So.
Oh, okay, so it worked.
Yeah,
Might have to try to do a bit more of that again.
Yeah, should do it more.
Couple of
often.
games in Margaret River or something.
Yeah.
You're right.
What was it like having Ken Hinkley as a coach? Because as we've seen in recent weeks with all the Jason Horn-Francis stuff, he does stick up for his players.
I think that's definitely one of his strengths. Like he is to majority of the players probably like a bit of a father figure. Like he is there. Like he's easy to talk to. He's easy. Like he gets around the boys, and you would have seen with all the Jason Horn-Francis stuff. Like he really does sort of embrace the players and sticks up for him, looks after him, and I think to his credit, he's done a really good job of that. And I guess the players love him because of that.
Was there any interest from any Sandford clubs or anything like that, or you always set to come back to Subi in the WAFL?
Nah, to be honest, it was people looking in probably don't think it's a massive decision, but personally it probably was because I've got a girlfriend who lives in Adelaide. So that obviously was a bit of a factor as well. I actually didn't mind living in Adelaide. And then, I had a bit of interest from Sandford clubs as well, and I knew a few. So Sam Mays, who was at Port, he signed at North Adelaide. So he was like, I was really close with him. So like we were sort of talking, and it was like there was a lot sort of going on, a lot of sort of things to weigh up. And then I flew over here and caught up with Subi and like had a chat, and then just sort of had to weigh everything up. But after going through all the sort of pros and cons, it sort of worked out that Subi was going to be the best place. So, and I feel like I've made the right decisions. Which is good.
So it wasn't just like straight away Subi. It was actually like a pretty lengthy process.
It was a lengthy process, and it was pretty stressful, to be honest, because trying to sort of keep all parties happy.
What was the thing that got you over the line, do you reckon?
I guess probably one, I had Bo Wardman as my Colts coach, and I found that I played, he just sort of gave me a lot of confidence when I was playing, and I felt like I played pretty good under him. Two, I knew like a fair few of the boys. So I was saying it, I can't remember, I was saying to someone the other day, like probably half the group is like some of the Colts boys that I played with, and the other half are like the older guys who Dad used to coach. So I kind of knew like a few people, and like I knew a few of the coaches and stuff, and it probably was, personally I wanted to be in an environment where I'm comfortable and can probably thrive, and I feel like that was the right place. So
nice blend of boys. Since coming back, obviously Subi, one thing that's always spoken about is the high standards, but how have you found that transition from a full-time athlete to a semi-full-time, because being a WAFL footballer can be a tough gig sometimes? Yeah,
definitely. As early on, it was definitely a bit of a change. Like as you said, like going from full time doing footy every morning, just little things from training in the morning to training in the afternoon, it is a bit different, and sort of had to get used to that. But in terms of training standards and that sort of stuff, like, to be honest, I haven't really found much of a difference. Like training at Subi, maybe like the skill level maybe a little bit, but not like in terms of kilometres or intensity or that sort of stuff. Like it's all been very similar. So, and
off the field, again, doing a little bit of research, Lids by Taj, the little hat business, is that, what's happening with that? Like, what are you doing off the field? Yeah, in general, like, I know you said off air you weren't working much, but what's happening off the field with you?
Yeah, so that was the Lids by Taj thing. That was just like a bit of a, I had a hat and I liked it, and I tried to sort of recreate it, and I wore it out once, and someone was like, "Oh, like, where'd you get the hat from?" And I was like, "Oh, I made it myself." And then a few people were like, "Oh, can you make me one?" So I sort of was just like, "Oh, I'll start up on Instagram." And then I sold probably about 50 of them.
Okay.
So it went not too bad. But yeah, other than that, like I was saying before, I got a little bit of work at the commission, just going out to schools, doing footy clinics and stuff. And just recently I got like a little bit of work at this place called Buddy Up, which is like, you like mentor kids with disabilities.
Okay.
I haven't fully got into that yet, but I've had like a couple little shifts there, which has been good, and I'm looking forward to sort of getting into that a bit more as well.
That'd be pretty rewarding, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and that's like, I've got a cousin who's got a disability, so it's sort of the reason why I wanted to get involved, and did a little bit of stuff at Port, similar sort of stuff, but it is very rewarding.
For sure. Well, some might have thought this year would have been a bit of a struggle for the Lions with more young guys than I guess past years, but you've already beaten both of the grand finalists from last year, and it's been a really really close competition so far in 2023. It seems that you boys are going pretty well together.
Yeah, we obviously we started off well against Perth, we started all right. We got the win, but we probably didn't play as good as we want. Then round 2, we got a bit of a clip from East Perth. It was probably a bit of a reality check, and it sounds a bit weird because it was only round 2, but it was a bit of a sort of line in the sand sort of moment. Like, it was like we knew that we had sort of not been playing our best, and then that was sort of just like reinforcing it. And then basically since then, we've really honed in on the things that we know make us play good, and just try to incorporate that the last 2 weeks. And it's worked out all right, and we've got a couple of good wins. And
you're hitting the scoreboard yourself. You must be happy with your form in your own role as a midfielder, kicking a few goals.
Yeah, so I obviously still feel like I've got like a fair way to go in terms of performance wise, but I've had a pretty few solid games between that midfield sort of half forward role. But that's sort of like a goal of mine, is to try and hit the scoreboard a bit more. Because if I sort of do make it back to that next level, it's probably going to be more as a half forward type rather than a midfielder, because I'm not the biggest fella going around. Mm-hmm. So, it's been going well. It's a good start of the year.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's been a great start to the year, because you've obviously been named in the state side. So talk us through finding out when you were named in the state squad. How exciting has it been to train with the best players in the competition and potentially pull out or put the jumper on at the Adelaide Oval?
Yeah.
2 weeks from now? Is it exactly 2 weeks from now?
Yeah. Yeah, it was coming into the season, it was obviously a goal of mine to make that squad and then make the team, which I'm yet to do, which I still got to perform well to try and get in there. But I guess it's sorry, I got a cough.
Good.
It is good to sort of train with the other boys. But it is a bit strange. Like against Claremont, we're getting in their face a little bit in the game, and then the next day we're like training with them, and it's just like it is a little bit awkward. But like I guess they try to sort of reinforce like getting to know everyone and getting around each other, so it's not awkward. I guess I was pretty excited when found that out. So
because like I was speaking off air, 20-year-olds like young guys in the WAFL, I feel like it's not always the case. Might have been a bit of a change in, I guess, the dimension of picking players, but you're like one of the youngest in the team. So, I mean, that's a pretty good achievement in itself, regardless if you play or you don't.
Yeah, I guess there's a few old heads, like Kitch is in there, and I reckon he's played, I don't know how long, but he's been in there a while. And then there's myself and Joel Weston, and we're only 20, or I think Joel's 20 or 21. And we're like the youngest in the squad. So I guess we're probably that next sort of wave of players coming through. And whether they've sort of gone with a bit of youth or whatever, I guess that's sort of up to them. But we're both stoked to be in the squad. So
how big is the squad at the moment? Is it like 30 odd?
Yeah, I think it's about 32, maybe. Yeah, okay. 30, 32.
They'll cut that down to 25.
Yeah,
22
I think
playing, 3
24 maybe.
Emergency, yeah.
Nice. So see how we go.
Yeah, it would be a curtain raiser for a game, I'm assuming.
Yeah, the Port versus Melbourne game.
So you obviously might be able to catch up with some of the old players there if you go over. Now, no doubt, obviously the motivation to reach the AFL again is something you'd love to do, and being selected in the state squad would help those aspirations. What are some of the things you've been told or you realise yourself that you need to do if you were to get another chance?
I think like my strength is my ball use and I guess run on the outside. So that's probably been reinforced that I need to sort of just keep sort of doing that. And then obviously being a bit of a smaller type player, just working on my contest. That's probably something that I need to improve on, and I am working on that consistently. And I feel like it has probably come on leaps and bounds since I first got drafted. So that's probably the main thing. But I guess the overriding thing is to just play to my strengths and be my sort of best version of like my type of player. So that's what I'm trying to do, and hopefully, if I can keep that up, then that'll impress AFL clubs.
For Sure.
All right, let's move on to the Instagram Q&As, Facebook and Twitter as well. Some will roll through there every now and then as well. Of course, it's all thanks to Skinbro, and you can find us at Bray and Ethan on every social media platform other than TikTok, where it's just Bray Ethan.
Yeah.
Because someone has stolen our name, unfortunately. Kate_Reed will kick us off. What are the main differences you think between footy and SA and WA, and how people get around it?
It's actually a good question, because I've been asked this a lot of times. And to be honest, like I think the main thing is in SA, the grounds are a lot smaller. So like it probably influences the game in terms of you don't have to run as far. And it's probably a little bit more congested. But other than that, I feel like the skill level and the speed of the game is probably very similar. But I think the biggest thing is just the size of the ground that probably makes the game a little bit different.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's good players in both leagues.
The last touch rule is happening, and that's going to be happening in the state game, considering it's over there. So that's another huge difference. I think it's only it's only like in the middle of the ground. Is that right? Yeah.
Is it AFLW last possession rules? Only between the 50-metre arcs?
It might be. I'm not too sure. But that in the sample, that's a bit of a game changer, because it's a bit strange. Like the ball might be rolling out and like people like sprinting to like just touch it before it gets out, which is a bit weird.
It's like when they trialled it in the WAFL in the pre-season. I was like, you can't be doing this. Like you've got Peel, who have AFL listed players from Freo, obviously, that you know if they're playing AFL, they're going to play obviously different rules because of that, and same with West Coast and their WAFL side as well. So I don't understand how that works. If you didn't have AFL teams, it might work, but I just can't see how you have AFL listed players playing with different rules to what they actually play. That was a big con for me with that rule. Thoughts?
Like, well, to be honest, whether you hate it or love it, I reckon it's just going to get to the point in AFL and probably all leagues where it is last touched, because you hear commentators talking about it with, I guess, the controversy with deliberate calls. So I think it's probably, whether that's 5-10 years, I don't know, where that'll probably come into it. But just before we read the next one, just had a thought. What about like the crowds in WAFL compared to SANFL, or have you even found the crowds at the, WA based games this year?
Yeah, I think I've found that in the SANFL they're probably a bit bigger. I'm not sure why, but it just seems like I don't know. It's maybe in the SANFL it's a bit more like everyone supports the AFL. But the sample is also like a big deal in SA. Like if you're playing sample league, it's like you're a bit of like it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So I feel like the older sort of population they like the sample. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Here probably seems a bit more like AFL based, like West Coast Freo, and like the WAFL sort of like
second fiddle.
Yeah. I guess so. It'd be nice if there's bigger crowds at WAFL. But in saying that, they get big crowds at like the grand final and that. So yeah.
I reckon part of that, and this is not like putting blame on anyone, but lately like Freo and West Coast have both been playing on Saturdays. So people like, mostly going to be watching them, and they might like forget about the WAFL. Whereas if somehow had more games on like a Sunday or whatever when the WA teams aren't playing, that would probably help.
Yeah. 100%.
Next one's from Corey Hitchcock. It says, "How are you so lovely?"
So that sort of when I got to the club, like the boys used to say like lovely a lot, and then we had like a rookie day, and it was like WWE theme, and my name was like Big Lovely, so that's sort of where that came from.
Is this at Port?
Nah, at Subi,
yeah. Okay. Yeah, right. Well, it continues on a little bit. Steph Gyro. Why do the boys call you Big Lovely?
Yeah, well, that's where it's from.
There you go.
Just had to mention Steph's name there. Yep. Colton Tholstrup. No surprise with this question. Favorite kombucha?
He's asking that because every single like time we train, he'll walk in with a kombucha and he walks around to everyone asking them if they want a slicky, because like apparently that's I think that's like New Zealand like word for saying like, do you want a sip?
Yeah.
So he walks around to everyone saying like, do you want a slicky? So that's why that would be there. But I don't know. I don't really drink kombucha. I wouldn't really know what flavors there are, to be honest.
All I know is you see heaps of them in certain shops or anything, but I've never ever picked one off the shelf. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. We're not the best thing probably to have before training, I guess.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's supposed to be good for your stomach.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
who knows?
This one from it's got an underscored between each letter. Pajom. So I'm going to say Pajum, maybe. Do you still fit into the Subiaco Lions mascot costume?
No, I don't, because I was literally like 8 years old when I was doing that. So when Dad was coaching there was like a lion suit.
Yep.
And I used to be like the little mascot that like ran out the front in a lion suit. So that's sort of where that's come from. But no, I don't fit it anymore. No way.
Grown a bit since then.
Yeah.
Galen Savini, thoughts on DJ Durr, I think it is.
So I've got like Dex and like dare, like that word like dare. They always like it's a bit of like slang that they use, I guess. And one of the boys had like a birthday and I had like my Dex there and was just like playing music and stuff. So they were like calling me like DJ Dare. So that's sort of where that came from. But nothing's really evolving from that.
Yeah, no, it's
Nothing at all.
not a career on the horizon.
Yeah.
DJ.
I was
Nah,
gonna say,
nah.
any good on the decks?
Nah.
Which is good enough for little parties with your mates.
Yeah, that's the main. That's the main
and
thing.
good
Bit of fun.
cruise. Yep, exactly. Next one from Noah_Ashy. Why do you call yourself the double champ?
So same thing as the big lovely thing. So on that day we had like it was obviously WWE theme, and we did like a little like wrestling tournament type thing.
I've heard about this before at Subi. It seems to be a bit of a common
Yeah,
trend.
we did like a bit of
Jumping on the trestle tables as well.
Nah.
Breaking it in
not
half.
that far. We weren't RKOing anyone or anything like that. We were just like on the knees and like if you first one to flip them on their back wins, and like I won like twice, so and I made it like to the final, so that's why I got called the double champ, and then that sort of just came from that.
It's popular with the Subi boys.
Yeah, hope no injuries would have come from that. I don't think
Yeah.
Bo would have been too happy.
Yeah, we might keep that on the down low.
And last one, Joel.Lucas, the one player you aim to play like. It's a bit of a hard one, but
I actually know Jolie. He's like a family friend. One player I aim to play like. As recently, I've been watching a bit of like Tom Papley, like because I've been playing like at centre bounces and then like flipping like a bit deeper in the forward line, and that's like sort of similar. He plays a bit deeper and like goes for bursts on ball. So I've been watching a bit of him. Previously, I've watched like a bit of Zach Merritt, Kane Lambert, who used to play at Richmond. Who else? They're probably the main ones I think. But I kind of just try and incorporate like a few things from different players and stuff. So
yeah. Well, if you celebrate like Tom Papley, then you'll be like,
nah, not a chance.
Was there anyone like in particular that took you under their wing at Port? Like, was there any like midfielders you kind of worked like? You would have obviously worked with all the midfielders closely, but anyone in particular?
Yeah, so because I was a bit more of a forward, like I used to do majority of my stuff like with the forwards. I got pretty close with the Ratio Fantasia.
Okay.
He was sort of like not my mentor, but like I would like ask him, like he would watch my vision with me and that sort of stuff. And then like midfield stuff, I'd always try and sort of watch what like Travis would do, Butsy, like Zach Butters, kind of Rosie, like those sort of like not big body midfielders, but like the ones who are a bit more like light on their feet. Those types of players, and then like Robbie Gray as well. You can't really go past him. You'd always, like, I'd always sort of be a bit starstruck, like watching him at training. But it's probably the main one to Ratio Fantasia.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll move on to the quiz, 4th edition of it for 2023. Riley Hardman sits on top, fresh off last week. He got 12 out of a possible 14.
I'm gonna be no good at this.
Your mate Colton has 10, along with Zach Langdon. So
Are these like just random questions?
These are pretty much your stats, a little bit of trivia about like I guess what you've done.
Oh, is it about me?
Yeah, it's about you.
Oh, right.
For some people, they're random. Like there was one that Zach Langdon was like, "How the hell did you know that?"
Yeah, right.
So
if it's about me, I might know, but
yeah,
we'll see.
We'll find out. We'll start it off with this one. Question number 1: what is your height and weight on the WAFL website?
178 centimeters, or 179, 178. and 85 kilos.
179 and 75 is what we've got.
Oh, wait,
front
what
of
did I
us.
say? Did I say 85 kilos?
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant to say 75 kilos.
Yeah, I'm
just
going to
going-
say that's probably correct as well. You wouldn't be
Just-
giving yourself 10 extra
Going on it
kgs.
now. Oh, accidentally.
I got confused with the 180 and then 85.
Yeah, so
75 kilos.
Yeah, correct.
Jeez, I
Yeah.
hope I'm not 85 kilos.
So 1 from 1.
Yeah, 1 from 1. Where does Subiaco sit on the league ladder right now as it stands?
5th.
Bang,
Right.
2 from 2. Good start. Looking to get it 14 out of 14 here with the way you're going. Question number 3. Who has your highest disposal tally been against in a WAFL game this year so far?
It's like the other team.
Mm.
Yeah. So who have you got the most disposals against so far?
Wait, say that question again?
Basically,
What team have you
What
got the
team
most
have-
disposals
yeah. Oh,
against
me.
in a game? Yeah, you.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you.
you
Oh.
personally, yeah.
what team do you rack them up against?
Claremont.
Correct.
20.
Yeah.
3 from 3.
3 from 3, very
Need,
good.
to need to lift that
This
up
will be a
little
tough one, I reckon.
Yeah. Okay, what was the scoreline in the 2018 Colts Grand Final? So, like,
bit.
you guys 2
Yeah.
Swans.
69, 67.
64, 62.
Oh, I knew it was in the 60s.
Yeah. Close as well. 3 from 4. Question number 5. How many times were you named as an emergency for Port Adelaide's AFL side last year?
5, I think it was.
We got 6.
6.
Or 6.
Yeah.
According to an article, so, like, that's...
We'll back it.
We'll back
Yeah.
it.
I thought it was 5 or 6.
3 from 5.
3 from 5, yeah. Number 6. Who wears your old number of 37 at the Power now?
McCallum?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it
Right.
Tom? Is it Tom?
Yeah.
Tom
Tom
McCallum?
McCallum,
Yeah.
So now we're on
Not
4.
happy with that. Nah, I'm joking.
Question number 7. Name the only team that you've given a free kick against this season.
This season?
Yeah.
Like you personally.
None. Oh,
There is
There's
a
one
there is
team.
one?
Yeah.
Name the only team you've given a free kick against.
What was it?
Apparently you've got no free kicks for as well for the whole year.
Oh, really?
So this
Oh,
is
maybe-
literally the only free kick you've given or
Or
got.
been involved in.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you've copped someone high or
Yeah.
you've been given
I'm trying-
ball.
Oh, West Perth on the weekend. I got done holding the ball.
Correct.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So that takes us to 5
Yeah.
from a possible 7.
Number 8. How many goals did you kick in the Sandful last year?
Like, I think it was 11. What? Was it less than that?
Give you a little clue. It is less than that. We'll give you one guess.
8.
6.
Did I only kick 6 goals last
According to the Sandful website, look, it's controversial, but we're just going off the WAFL website, Sandful
Well,
website.
maybe I
so,
kicked 11 over my 2 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think, yeah.
Jeez, I
okay.
thought I kicked more than 6. I've already kicked 4 this year.
Well, we spoke about improving your game, so what
I'm only
are we
gonna
on
get
now?
that. Still on
5?
Hang on, where were we? We were
Yeah, 5.
we're on 5. Yep,
Jeez.
correct. 5 from 8. Question number 9. 3 out of the 4 WAFL games you've played this year have had the same amount of inside 50s. How many inside 50s is that?
Again, you personally.
This is you. Inside 50s you've had.
Oh, me personally.
Yeah. So 3 out of 4 games has been the same.
Do I say how many it is? Or what games it was?
No, just how many?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 4.
3.
Oh.
Number
Very close.
number 10.
So we're still on 5.
Or 5.
Jeez. I've slid down the bloody...
There was another question we actually might. I don't know if we'll count it, but there was another question that we're gonna put in here, but we didn't. So we can see how you go depending on this one. Might have to slide it in just to help you out.
Yeah.
So this one, it's like pretty straightforward. So you're obviously from Sereno Duncraig Junior Footy Club. Name at least 5 other people who have been drafted out of Sereno Duncraig, and a point for each you can name.
Greg Clark,
It's one.
Neil Erasmus.
Yep.
2.
Jeez, how good am I going? Far
I was
out.
going to say, you haven't put the answers
There's probably
down
two.
underneath, but there's a website that
Yeah.
he's put the link to here.
There's two big ones that you could still say. Like, yeah, well, one of them is, I'd say, is pretty big. The other is reasonably big as well.
I feel like I know, but I can't think.
How many are you on?
Two.
2.
If you want a clue, reach out. But
Yeah, give us a clue.
all right, one of them's a Brownlow medalist
Oh, yeah.
and a Sandover medalist, actually.
Jesus.
One was an All-Australian in 2021.
2021.
The other was an All-Australian in 2019.
It's a Brownlow medalist in the
A
sand.
Sandover medalist.
Oh,
I'm not sure how many more clues we can give, but like played for that Brownlow one. Played for Subi.
Yeah, I'm thinking Matt Priddis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Priddis we got there. And
3.
trying to think of any other. Well, there's another notable name
As a
actually.
premiership player.
Yeah.
Jack Darling.
Yes.
Yes, that's 4.
Yeah.
The other one was an All-Australian in 2021.
2021.
Yeah.
Jeez. Oh.
There's also a couple that are still young guys that are still on AFL lists.
He's also 27 games away from playing 300 games for his club.
27 games. WA club? Oh, you probably can't say, eh?
Nah, it's
We'll
not.
say
We'll say
interstate.
Interstate. 27
One,
games.
I don't know if this will help because it was ages ago, but one a Rising Star as well.
Oh, jeez. I've got no idea.
What else is there? Yeah. There was someone who was picked up in the first ever mid-season draft, I think it was.
Yes, second club,
Yeah.
First ever mid-season draft.
but it was the
So
second.
that was 2019.
Yeah.
Was at a WA club, then went into state.
Mm-mm. And it's still over in Victoria, I believe, playing VFL.
Might be, yeah.
I've got nothing.
Really?
I've got.
There's actually a current West Coast player on there as well,
Oh,
if that helps. But that's not any of the hints. I've just seen that.
current. Oh, Luke Foley.
Yes.
We got there.
That's
we got
fine
there in the end.
How did I not think of that?
The other
the
one was Daniel Rich. That was the one we were talking about.
Yeah.
Was he a
Sorrento.
Craig?
Yeah. Who else was there?
Uh,
Jackson Pryor.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. And
I know that, but I just could not
mid-season
think of
draft
it.
was Josh DeLuca.
Yeah, was he Sorrento?
Apparently
Yeah, I
so.
think he was. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Sorrento
That's-
done great.
It's a pretty successful club, I guess, with producing AFL players.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll give you the 5 there.
Just.
The other question, look, I don't know if we should include this because we've been pretty generous with helping you out. But the other question was that's not included because we had to cut it down to 10 was how many other Subi players have been on an AFL list before? Do you know that?
How many current Subi players?
Current.
Yeah, like
I don't, because we ended up getting to 10 there, so I don't think this is.
no,
worth
I
any
was just
points, but
was
go for
interested
it,
to
yeah.
know
current
Yeah.
Subi players.
that doesn't have to play. That didn't have to play a game, just on a list.
Myself, Steph, Jordan Lockyer, Angus Litherland, Jack Mayo. Is that it? Is there
It
one
was
more?
7 all up. So who we missing? Jordan Snadden was on a
Oh yeah,
list.
Snads. Yeah, Snads.
Did you say Jack Mayo?
Yeah, I said Jack. Mayo.
Who was the other one?
Snads. Who was the other one?
There was definitely another one.
Snads, Mayo, Locks,
About
myself,
yourself. Oh, you counting
Steph,
yourself?
and Angus Sutherland. And
Not Brandon Matera. He's done, isn't he?
yeah, he's not there.
Yeah. Everyone's stumped.
Zach Clark.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
he's the easiest one to think.
Yeah, he
of.
played over 100
He's
games.
probably one of the best, if not the best.
Well, yeah, played the most amount.
yeah,
I think.
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get you up to 10 points on the quiz. Level with Colton.
We got
You can
there in
take
the
that.
Yeah, we did. So that's 3 guests so far on 10, 1 on 12. So 1 leader.
Jeez.
Chasing
We just hate seeing guests like we want to
struggle.
in like lift them up a little bit, especially before the weekend.
Well, at the moment, Riley Hardman's chasing the unofficial Greg Clark medal.
What did he get? 12.
Yeah. So at the moment, everyone's chasing him down. So there you go. 12 out of a possible 14. So it's pretty tough when you think of it, because you pretty much have to get every question right, other than maybe one. If you want to get, this is if you want to get 12, get say one question wrong, and then if you want to get say 4 marks out of a possible 5 in the last question, however, whatever way we do it, if it's a who am I or guess 5 players, it's pretty tough. So Riley did a pretty good job.
You enjoyed that though, didn't you?
Yeah.
Good fun.
Yeah.
Just making sure we don't want to, because some guests, it's very hard for them. Some guests it's very easy. So because we don't know when we're coming in, so these guys check their stats. We don't know what level to make it.
We mentioned Greg Clark. We call it the unofficial Greg Clark medal because he got 17 out of 18, I think it was last year.
Yeah, right.
Just knew everything. He was, and everyone that we've had on that, like have either played with him or been mates with him, they just say he's an absolute footy nuffy.
Yeah.
Knows everything about himself and other stats out there.
I feel like I generally would know like a fair bit about myself. You guys have just dug a little bit deeper then.
But they're not like the standard like obviously the disposal ones, but they're not all those sort of ones.
You get in this game or whatever.
It's like a little bit of like, where you're from sort of thing as well.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
Yeah, bit of background. All right, well, we've got a little Skinbro gift for you there that we'll hand over to you. But Taj, can't thank you enough for coming on the pod today. Best of luck tomorrow.
Channel 7 game as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did say that actually. Yeah, I was going to mention that. Who are you playing? East Freo? South Freo. Yep. So you got the Saturday game. There's 4 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday this weekend. But obviously this will be out after the game. So win or lose, you're still on the pod next week, or even draw. Who knows? But best of luck tomorrow for the rest of the season, and we'll keep in contact.
Sweet. Thanks for having me. Been a pleasure.
Of course, Ethan, Skinbro. The discount code is Bray and Ethan 20. The and is the symbol and, so don't write A-N-D, because that won't get you access to any discount code.
Access denied.
Exactly. So Bray and Ethan 20, all caps as well. Just head to skinbro.com, and of course $35 or over gets you free shipping.
It will. This is actually, the last episode was actually put on YouTube as well, so get around that. If you're listening on Spotify, as most people probably are, you can check it on YouTube, and if you're checking on YouTube, it's available wherever you get your podcasts. So
and if you're watching this episode on YouTube, you got it this way, and then get out of you guys on the camera. We'll give you a wave. This will do it, Ethan, of course. Check everything out on Bray and Ethan on Instagram, Bray and Ethan everywhere, and just Bray Ethan on TikTok. And you'll find some good clips up on there. All right, thanks for your time, as always, Ethan, and thanks to everyone for tuning in. We'll be back next time here on the Bray and Ethan podcast.